Hey y'all, so I am back with another video, and I told y'all I got you. So listen, if you haven't seen my previous video about Will Smith and Chris Roch, go check it out. But this is like, the updates and so forth, as I promised. So number one, Will was at the after party. And allegedly he was gonna be arrested, and then Chris Roch was like, no boys, not today. Okay, like, I'm not pressing charges.
Producer of the Oscars, Will Packer, speaking out for the first time about what happened after that infamous slap.
Will Packer, who led the show's first all-black production team that night, speaking exclusively to TJ Holmes, saying the LAPD came to his office and spoke to Roch.
They were saying, this is battery, was the word they used in that moment. They said, we will go get him. We are prepared. We're prepared to get him right now. You can press charges. We can arrest him. They were laying out the options. And as they were talking, he was being very dismissive of those options. He was like, no, I'm fine. He was like, no. And even to the point where I said, Roch, let him finish. The LAPD officers finished laying out what his options were. And they said, would you like us to take any action? And he said no. Should
Will feel good about this situation? And I really don't think so. And reason being is that I don't know this for certain because I don't know Chris Roch like that. He has a good reputation in the industry. But if I was Will, I wouldn't want anybody holding anything over my head, which is what I think is happening right now. Because Chris can very well, in the space of a month, 2 months, or however long he pleases, go ahead and press charges. Numero dos. Now, it's reported that this whole Chris Roch talking about Jada and G.I. Joe, literally, or G.I. Jane, literally was not scripted. It was not approved by the Academy. It was an impromptu joke, which is probably why Chris said it. And if you watch a video, and if you haven't seen the actual video for yourself, like I said, go check out my previous video. Like, I fully break down everything to you. I provide video clips and all.
I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? that was a nice one. Okay.
If you watch the clip, you will notice that Chris Roch actually looked as if he was kind of a little bit shaken while saying the joke, because probably he didn't know if it would have went over well. Do you see what I'm saying? Because that was not something that he had practiced. That wasn't something he rehearsed. He saw Jada and then he said it. So I think to a certain degree also, Chris Roch probably felt guilty, about the fact that here it is, this was not scripted, and he decided to do an impromptu joke, and then it turned out badly. In his favor, in the Academy's favor, in the whole night's favor, in history's favor, okay? It did not go over well, all right? So I think he probably feels some sense of responsibility for that, because had he not done that, we wouldn't be talking about a situation right now. The night would have went, to our knowledge, possibly perfect. Instead, it was a disaster. So, and that leads me to my next point. So this is exhibition 2.A, which is literally, Wanda Sykes. She said that, Chris Roch apologized to her. And she was saying to Chris, like, you're apologizing to me. And he was like, yeah, because this was your night. And this was, an opportunity that is a really big one in the history books. And I feel like this whole situation overshadowed your night, as well as you and the other young ladies that hosted it. Numero tres. Okay, number three. I just want to point out that I feel like at the end of the day, this situation is not over. I don't think it's gonna be over anytime soon. The economy is looking at trying to find a way in which to rectify the situation, which could possibly be expelling Will for a certain period of time, a certain number of years, possibly fining him. Whoopi Goldberg, she made a statement to say that held accountable for his actions. And in my mind, I'm like, what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, he got money so he could pay a fine. If he don't come back to an award show for the next 10, 15, 20 years, even if it's for a lifetime situation, at the end of the day, like, as long as he's making movies and doing what it is that he says he's so-called called to do, okay, honey, I don't think he should have any problems. Jim Carrey, like I showed y'all in my previous video, Jim Carrey said, oh, I would have fined him $200 million. I'd have sued him for $200 million the next day because that video is ubiquitous and all of that. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see why you would do that, Jim, because your ego is so crushed and so bruised. But I feel like Chris Roch understands where he went wrong. He went after another brother's wife, impromptu joke. Probably felt like Will would just have took it because he made jokes about Will and Jada before, and they didn't come out and say anything to him, at least not from my research. So therefore, he probably thought he was like a good pushover, and then boom, he dropped it. It didn't go so well. And I think that's Chris. Chris has to take some accountability. And like I said, there has to be some sort of sensitivity that is taken into consideration when you're making jokes of people. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't think you should just make jokes for the sake of making jokes. Like, why would you make a joke that, even if it made 998 people feel great, about themselves or made them have a gut-wrenching laugh, but it's upset two individuals? That's not your job as a comedian to make people feel bad. So again, I still say there has to be some sort of sensitivity put into consideration. Now, I find it very, 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 very interesting that all the comedians except for Tiffany Haddish thus far has come out and said, listen, man, he shouldn't have did that. He, overreacted. He was totally wrong. Like Wanda Sykes said that the whole situation with Will and Chris Roch made her sick, like physically ill. And in my mind, I'm like, Wanda, sit down somewhere, because at the end of the day, you have pulled the same thing. You have made jokes about people and whatnot. I don't think it's the fact that Will, like, literally slapped Chris Roch that got, all the comedians shook. I think it's the fact that they said to themselves, that could have been me. Because I do stuff like that all the time. I say stuff way worse than what Chris said to Will. And that is why they have such a strong disdain for what happened. It's because they're putting themselves in that situation. It's not about Chris Roch. It's not about the victim, Chris Roch. It's not about the perpetrator, Will Smith. It's not about that. What it's about for them, I think, is that if they don't say that's messed up, if they don't stand up and have like some sort of unanimous decision of a front, then essentially they're welcoming the same treatment by someone else. So they cannot excuse Will's behavior. I don't think it's the fact that Will, like, literally slapped Chris Roch that got, all the comedians shook. I think it's the fact that they said to themselves, that could have been me. Because I do stuff like that all the time. I say stuff way worse than what Chris said to Will. And that is why they have such a strong disdain for what happened. It's because they're putting themselves in that situation. It's not about Chris Roch. It's not about the victim, Chris Roch. It's not about the perpetrator, Will Smith. It's not about that. What it's about for them, I think, is that if they don't say that's messed up, if they don't stand up and have like some sort of unanimous decision of a front, then essentially they're welcoming the same treatment by someone else. So they cannot excuse Will's behavior. Okay, they can't excuse it. It's because of the fact that if they do, then they're putting themselves at risk for someone else saying, oh, but no, you understood why Will whoop somebody's behind. So why is it that you have a problem with the fact that I'm about to whoop yours? Do you guys see what I'm saying? So I think literally, if you just kind of break it down to certain degrees, I think you'll find out like a lot of these people, they're saying it because they're afraid. Because they look back and they say, dang, that could have ended badly for me. I said some stuff. I wasn't thinking that way. And if Will, who's somebody who's so composed, is somebody who's so down to earth, who, tries to spread a lot of positivity, if he could lose his cool and slap another brother in front of the entire world, then imagine when I did my little comedy skit on, 221st down in 8th Ave, you know what I'm saying? Like round the block to X, Y, and Z. And I said that this man's woman looked like, X, Y, and Z. I could have got slapped. Somebody could have beat my behind. You know what I'm saying? And I could have ended up on TMZ. Okay? Because if Will did not care in that moment, and if that joke wasn't as bad of a joke that I did back then and have been known to do, then what am I looking forward to? The next show that I do, the next, project that I have. What am I going to do that's going to be too far for someone else? So I think that's the reason why they're upset, guys. I don't think it's because it's Chris Roch. Oh my gosh, I love Chris Roch. Oh, because I'm pretty sure that they at one point in time would have said the same thing about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. Like, oh, I really like them. They're a great couple. Like, I don't think it's because of that. You understand what I'm saying? I think it's because they are putting themselves in the same situation and they're realizing how badly their skits could have turned out. Like, if they came across someone who was just at the edge, just couldn't take no more, this, that, and the third, it could have easily been them. And they're considering how to move forward given the situation. So, of course, they've got to condemn him. You understand? Tiffany Haddish, to be honest with you, Tiffany was, like she said she wanted to say more, but I feel like Tiffany was like, what do you expect a man to do? Like, yeah. And she said, he sit beside his wife. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we read between the lines. Go check out my video. I've got her whole interview, okay, and her response or whatever the case is. Like, go check out my previous video. I'm telling you, I did it. I'm telling you, I did it. Y'all will have no questions unanswered if you watch that video of mine. So anyways, back to what I'm saying, right? Like, Tiffany basically said, like, what do you expect a man to do if he's sitting there with his wife and some other man disses her? Essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, okay? But I mean, and I understand, like, you have a lot to consider, like, yes. And, Will made a statement in his apology. Again, I have it for y'all. Go check out the video. But in his apology, he basically said, like, when we're in this business, we're supposed to take a lot of abuse and we're supposed to take a lot of disrespect and yada, 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 whatever the case is. And I totally agree with him. It's because everybody feels like you have so much to lose, so you can be toyed with to a certain degree. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you're not supposed to defend yourself. You're supposed to have like a thicker skin. You're supposed to be extraterrestrial, really. Okay? Nothing's supposed to bother you. You're supposed to be able to shake the hands of people who have hurt you, who have ridiculed you, who have done all of these different things. And at the end of the day, these people are human. They're not always going to be able to set themselves, their ego, their pride, their feelings to the side and just be all about the paper. At some point in time, it's going to hit home. And unfortunately, when it hits home, you don't know how someone is going to react. Do you see what I'm saying? You don't know how someone is going to react. So I think you guys just have to consider that. And yeah, like, I'll keep you updated, y'all. Like, thank you so much for watching, so much for staying tuned. Stick to these updates because you need them. All right, y'all have a wonderful evening, a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Bye, y'all.